Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, here I am, Deborah Beauvais, as I always say, founder and owner of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. And if you're tuning in for the first time, we are a Boston-based, fully producing internet radio station. We're in our 19th year. And we have all the bells and whistles. You can listen online. You can ask Alexa to play Dream Vision 7 radio network. You can listen in your car. Just get the apps, and you can just listen wherever you are in the world. And it's always interesting to see some of the countries that come up that are listening, third world, but somehow they're listening with technology. Anyone that wants to check out more about our hosts, what we're doing in the community, all those good things, go to Dream Visions, all one word with an S on the end, the number 7 radio.com. My guest today is really, she's on a mission to help others and to advocate for mental health. Her name is Ellen Lubensky, and she's an attorney, and for 28 years she has lived under the wrongful diagnosis. She speaks to others to help and to help find their path of healing. So we're going to be talking with her, and I'm very interested in what she has to share. And as we know, mental health has really increased, I think, probably 200% since the pandemic years. And then with all the chaos and the stress that's out there in the world, I'd like to talk about it. It affects us. Even if we're going along in our life and creating and doing things, it's the collective energy that we can feel. So a lot of people are looking for assistance and ways to heal themselves and keep themselves balanced and all of that, just to live on earth these days. So without further ado, Ellen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get right into it and share your earlier journey when you were a young girl, and then, how you became an attorney. What led you there?
Well, as a child, I had a fairly traumatic childhood. I firmly believe I'm autistic. People dropped books on me as a child, and I screamed. And instead of being given therapy, I wasn't given any coping resources as a child. I went to serious self-harm at 11 because the system failed me. So these are things, if I'd been given therapy as a child, I don't think I would have been medicated at 20. I went back today to the neurologist who had said that I'm baseline for disabling tardive dyskinesia, which is a side effect of antipsychotics. So I was physically disabled for 20 years, and he said, yes, he was going to change my records, that my diagnosis is autistic and not, I was misdiagnosed as bipolar 1 at 20. And that's a diagnosis that, lives in my records.
So really it was more you were on the autistic spectrum instead of having mental health issues?
Yes, I've had mental health issues, but medication has never been the answer for those issues for me. And I'm an attorney. I'm a Stanford graduate. My bar has never been in jeopardy. And I freely admit that I know nothing flat about the detrimental effects of psychiatric medications when I became physically dependent on benzodiazepines.
Okay. So with all this, how did you how did you actually become an attorney? Because when you, I have one of my daughters is an attorney, and it's a lot of curriculum, and it's years of work.
Yeah.
How did you focus enough to become an attorney?
Well, my bar has never been in jeopardy. I worked really hard, but I was hiding. I didn't let anybody know that I was on antipsychotics because I thought I would lose my job. I thought that there would be discrimination against me. But, I worked really hard, and the fact that I was disabled and was on antipsychotics was not a barrier to my working hard. When I applied for the bar, I had to get a letter from an attorney saying that because I was taking antipsychotics, that I was okay to be admitted to the bar, even though I had not done anything to merit questioning of my bar. So this was merely because on my records it showed that I had been on antipsychotics. So, that doesn't sit well with me at all, that the bar would question my admission when there was no acts or omissions on my part, but solely because I was on antipsychotics.
Wow. So when they started giving you meds, was it something else before you got into the benzo? Was it something else? Did they start off slowly, or how did that work?
At 20, I firmly believed that I had autistic meltdown with high anxiety. And, I was rushed into the best of the best doctors. And, the only solution, big pharma, pushes pills. It's the cheap solution. It is the easy solution to mental health issues. So I was rushed into the best of the best, and they prescribed. They overprescribed. I was not even given therapy for 25 years, basically. I was given prescriptions. So, these are things I want to spread awareness that you can ask questions. Those 15-minute appointments with psychiatrists, often they don't give you the opportunity to ask questions, and they go straight to medications. And I think that is something that people need to be aware, that you can ask questions. If medications are right for you, I have no issues with that at all. But, I am currently pursuing suit against a psychiatrist who I firmly believe did not give me informed consent. As an attorney, I can file suit. These suits, psychiatrists are rarely held accountable. And finding counsel to take suits against psychiatrists is very difficult. However, but as a medical malpractice attorney, I can do that. However, everybody is able to, report psychiatrists, and I have reported 2 psychiatrists this year, and that is something that people can easily do. I would encourage people to use their voice, and if there's something that's wrong, to speak up. Because, I as an attorney can do so more easily than other people, but there are things that everybody can do.
So if we can you describe what is tardive dyskinesia, if I'm pronouncing that even
so
correctly?
Tardive dyskinesia, it's a side effect of antipsychotics. So I was physically disabled for 20 years. For 20 years, I had a blue hang tag, permanent disability. I was told no chances of recovery. I am now neurologically baseline. I just saw my neurologist this morning who had documented it and wants to do a medical case study to see how I resolved to neurological baseline. This recovery is very rare. I know of maybe 2 other survivors on the planet. There are between 600 and 800,000 people in the U.S. who are disabled by tardive dyskinesia, and millions worldwide.
Wow.
So
what are the symptoms of that, Ellen?
Right. So for me, the symptoms were I wore a leg brace for almost 20 years. I turned my leg in. I stuck my tongue out. I had a tongue thrust. I could barely write by hand. I used a giant thick pen to write by hand. For some people, it's far worse than that. But I turned my arm inward. I could barely climb stairs. I couldn't play on the playground when my child was little.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hid. Almost nobody knew why I was disabled. When I clerked for Chief Justice Rabner of the New Jersey Supreme Court, he had no idea, and he allowed me to use his personal parking spot because I was too disabled to walk to the handicapped parking spots, and he had a chauffeur.
Oh, wow.
So I am very lucky that, I was privileged enough to have people, who trusted me. But, many people are suffering tremendously with tardive dyskinesia. There are now medications that help it somewhat. But I know of people who have been diagnosed with tardive dyskinesia, and their doctors have told them your only option is medication. And I firmly believe that early on, there are alternatives that could help you recover before you are disabled for a long time. And doctors often do not tell you that there are other options besides medication. I was not told there were any options besides medication. I was told to have deep brain stimulation. I was told to have brain surgery instead of any alternatives to medications.
Right.
And I'm very glad that I did not have brain surgery for something that actually resolved the baseline.
Yeah. So how did you, as you got older and then going through school and then after that day to day, and how were you able to function, or were you laying down and in bed most of the time?
So I was not. I have always been functional. I currently, I cannot work a 40-hour work week right now because I have been an insomniac off and on, 1 to 2 hours a night, which is one of the worst symptoms for me in withdrawal. Since the last night of my bad taper, which is how you gradually reduce the dosages of psychiatric medications, on November the 13th of 2022. So working a 40-hour week right now would be very difficult for me. But I can talk publicly about things that I believe in. But I am exhausted a lot of the time.
Really? So at this juncture, because you're tapering off, would the diagnoses be that you're on the autism spectrum and you're tapering off?
Yes. So I was placed on them for benzodiazepines for insomnia. I was told, I was taken off of antipsychotics too quickly, so I became a complete insomniac and could not sleep for a month. At that point, I was urged to go back on antipsychotics. I said no. And I was desperate, so I agreed to take benzodiazepines. I asked if they would cause physical dependency, and I was told no. I was told high-dose benzodiazepines, no issues, no problems. I firmly believe I was up to 5 milligrams of Ativan, which is a benzodiazepine, which is an incredibly high dose of benzodiazepines.
Yeah.
So you suffer long-term from that. There are strange things that happen that, you don't know what's coming. But when you are in withdrawal, you have mental health issues, but taking psychiatric medications is not helpful. So you do breath work, relaxation, early morning sunshine, exercise. I firmly believe that psychiatric hospitals are not therapeutic. If somebody is openly psychotic, it is one thing. If they are openly suicidal, okay. I have a power of attorney, which is a legal document saying that I should not be sent to a psychiatric hospital unless I'm a danger to others. I will never be a danger to others, and I will never be a danger to myself, sufficient to merit commitment in a psychiatric hospital. I firmly believe that there are more humane ways to treat people with psychiatric issues.
Right.
I don't like being labeled. I don't feel like I am a psychiatric case. I mean, everybody struggles, but psychiatric medications are not the answer to those struggles.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seekonk Family Chiropractic in Seekonk, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Calling all authors. Have you been considering an audiobook? Well, look no further. Come take advantage of Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's unique in-house audiobook production, which includes benefits and bonuses from our radio station. Let our knowledgeable staff guide you to create the audiobook you've always dreamed of without breaking the bank. Check out our full one-stop service from A to Z, including the ACX process. Schedule a free consultation by calling 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or go to dreamvision7radio.com.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first-grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowdfunded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back, and we are live, so if anyone would like to call in and ask Ellen or I a question, feel free. Bob is in the house, and he will put you right through, and you just say, hello, I'm here. The number is 833-220-1200. Again, it's toll-free, 833-220-1200. And I'm talking with Ellen Lubensky, who's an attorney, but was for 28 years living under a wrongful diagnosis. So we're talking about her journey, and I have all kinds of questions. And so I wanted to get back to asking, how did you find out that this was a misdiagnosis? Right.
So you mean I requested the records? I always questioned what was going on. I found in my records that I bought 2 skirts at Ross for under $100, and that was considered a manic episode. This is not sufficient to be considered a shopping spree. I was raped and pulled a knife on somebody at 17, and this was sufficient to be considered sexually promiscuous 3 years later to merit antipsychotics. Really, these things are not sufficient for a bipolar 1 diagnosis. I was in the psychiatric hospital for 1 week when I was 20, and I had 4 day passes. Once you have a 1 week once you have a hospitalization, you are considered bipolar for life. That is considered a diagnosis that is unchangeable. And I was in a psychiatric hospital because of side effects of antipsychotics. So I appealed my diagnosis, and I was told that it could not be changed because a psychiatrist 25 years earlier had said that I was bipolar 1. I have letters from that psychiatrist saying that I had never been hypomanic. I had never decompensated. There was no reason for my work life to be curtailed or for my parenting duties to be curtailed. So I have reported that psychiatrist because I have records showing that she almost double prescribed the antipsychotic I was on to avoid then mandatory neutropenia tests, which are white blood cell tests that were then mandatory when I was on antipsychotics. She failed to do regular lithium level checks. She failed to do regular thyroid level checks when she prescribed Synthroid. So these were things that I accepted because they made it easier for me, because I didn't have to have its frequent blood tests. But these are things that I, as an attorney, I didn't know anything. I trusted the wrong doctors. So I would encourage anybody to ask questions. Because I didn't think that I could ask questions.
The other thing, Ellen, is when you are with a doctor, a lot of times you can sense that something just isn't right. It's like an energy exchange in a sense, but you can, when it just doesn't feel right, and this is probably what I'm thinking at the beginning, when it just doesn't feel right, it's always good to get a second opinion and go somewhere else.
Exactly. If something doesn't fit right, you have options. Everybody has options.
Yes.
If one doctor isn't a good fit, there are always other doctors out there. Nobody should try to get off of psychiatric medications without medical advice.
Right.
Because, many people have doctors who do not trust them. And many people have to lie to their doctors in order to get off of psychiatric medications. I am lucky to have doctors who trust me and know that I am not an addict. I have never misused a substance. I have never smoked a cigarette. I have never been drunk. I have never used an illicit substance. So I know that if I tip my jar of Valium accidentally, I can go to the ER and they will give me a limited supply of Valium, and I will not be labeled as an addict. This is something many people are afraid to seek medical attention. And I have been afraid to seek medical attention because I'm afraid that I will be considered a mental health case. That will be a psychiatric issue. The other day, I vaguely strained my leg, and I was reluctant to go to urgent care because I was afraid that I would be considered a psychiatric case and that this would be considered a mental health issue. Really, they said, rest. If it's not better in a few days, have an ultrasound. But many people are reluctant to seek medical care because they're going to be considered psychiatric cases.
So what do you do from there? With that, living with that fear and not wanting to go, how do you move on from that when you know that you need some help? And while I'm saying that, have you tried in these years, and so much has changed over the years with
it definitely
holistic mental,
there's more
holistic
awareness of holistic approaches.
Yes.
And a lot of diet has helped me.
Yes, nutrition is huge.
Nutrition is huge. I chose the wrong diet. I was put into ketosis, which is a high fat, high protein diet, and I went down to exhaustion. So that was highly detrimental to me. To other people, ketosis is helpful. But eating healthily and firstly eating. Eating is very important, and being hydrated is very important. These little things to preserve your own health. I believe in cutting yourself a break. And I think that that's very important for everyone, that they don't have to keep pushing all the time to be perfect.
Right.
Because nobody is perfect.
Yeah, there's so much to it. There's, I think a lot of, especially women, struggle with their self-image without adding anything else to it, just that alone, and seeing the way society is, and they're not pretty enough, they're not thin enough, they're,
exactly. There's so much judgment based on the way that you look.
Yes.
I don't own a scale because I don't want to judge myself based on a number. A number should not define you. You should feel confident about the way that you look, regardless of whether you're skinny or a little bit overweight. You should feel comfortable being yourself.
Right.
And the cardinal rule is always, choose yourself first. Take care of yourself so that you can be there for anybody else.
Right. Now, have you worked with someone in more of a holistic way as far as, your self-image? And, there's so many different modalities. Which ones have worked for you?
So, I have gone almost entirely holistic in this path. I have a dietitian, and I do acupuncture and massage and breath work. I do a lot of breath work and meditation, tapping. Anything that relaxes your body, exercise. I am going minimal medications of any sort. I debate whether I'm going to take a baby aspirin. Because I firmly believe that you should be very mindful of what you put into your body.
Exactly.
You should be aware of what you are ingesting before you ingest it. I am physically dependent on liquid Valium, so I absolutely have to take it, or in a few days I will be at risk of seizures. That is a medication I have to take because I am physically dependent on it.
Because of the Tardif.
No, I was put on benzodiazepines for insomnia. And
okay.
So, the warning that doctors generally provide is it's 2 to 4 weeks or you may become physically dependent. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe that you should trust a trusted physician to tell you whether you are the one who will become physically dependent. And I became physically dependent very quickly. So there are many suicides in withdrawal, in psychiatric medication withdrawal. There's many seizures. People spike very high blood pressures. People have akathisia, which is inner restlessness. These are things that, will not happen to me because I have resources. Almost everything that I have spent this year is unreimbursable medical expenses.
Right. That's the thing. If you want to go in that, I know because I go to an integrative doctor and herbs and all those kinds of things, and you pay out of pocket.
Yes. And, most people do not have the resources for this.
That is correct. And yet, I really feel that healthcare is changing. There's so many integrative doctors and functional medicine people, and they're going off on their own or having small groups, and then it's a concierge type of payment situation. But you're saving in other ways.
Some doctors who go to concierge mode, are taking advantage of people. They're in it for money.
And yet they spend time. It seems to be better than the conventional medicine where you've got 5 minutes or whatever it is.
You have to be very careful in whom you pick, because some of the concierge models are extremely expensive and do not give you proportionate benefits.
Yes.
I firmly believe that there should be parity. Yeah, you have to do your research. I firmly believe that there should be parity for mental health issues as for physical. And there is increasingly so, but in the past there has not been. Funding has been easier to get care for physical ailments and for mental health issues. And I firmly believe that the system should have parity so that everybody can, mental health issues should not be something that are shameful.
Right.
They're something that should be talked about, and you should be able to have resources for them.
Yes. So what does one do? Say that there's a mom out there and they've got, an 18-year-old, and the 18-year-old is having some issues. The anxiety is usually one of the major things, as you mentioned earlier. And there may be some other things that that are all intertwined with that. What does someone do, and how do they know if they're, if they are being prescribed some kind of antidepressant? How does the mom know when it's too much or it isn't the right thing, or they need to look for someone else?
Well, firstly, take the time to ask questions. If the doctor says, you just need to be medicated, and doesn't take the time to ask questions, I would always get a second opinion before choosing medications. And medications are appropriate for some people. I'm not anti-medication. I'm pro-asking questions. If a doctor tells somebody who's 18 who was depressed that they need to be medicated, unless the person is seriously suicidal and in a psychiatric ward, there should be other questions asked. The first step, I firmly believe, should not be to medicate.
Yes. And yet that's the norm.
That is often the norm. Big pharma pushes pills, and it is the cheap solution. It is the easy solution. to mental health
instead
problems.
of getting to the root and working on what's happening emotionally, physically, asking what their family life is like, what is really what they're thinking, feeling. It's not about that. It's about but I do have hope for it changing, because I've seen changes already, and preventative ways instead of just medicating trying to fix the situation with medication. Doesn't go away. So it's frustrating.
I believe in root causes and predispositions. That made me, I don't believe that somebody is a psychiatric case. I don't believe, if you are in a contentious divorce, I don't believe that you, you might need therapy, but it's not because you were born depressed. I don't believe that I believe that there were things that happened in my childhood that led to having me be put on medication. I was in France at age 4, and I was very much alone. I didn't learn how to speak French. I crawled out of story time, and the teacher thought I was dumb. And that was an imprint that lasted for a lifetime. That was a root cause for me. Because I was like, okay, I'm stupid.
Yeah, but the beauty, Ellen, is not, that now, that was the root cause.
No, I have looked back and spent a lot of time looking at my past to understand my present.
And when you know your past and what, the connections to your emotional and physical issues, if there are, then that's power to know, okay, where do I go from here, and what direction do I want to go in? Are you able to take supplements or herbs with the Valium?
Yes. So I do take a bunch of supplements, magnesium, rhodiola. I take a bunch of supplements that my doctor has approved to help me safely and more easily get off of benzodiazepines, to taper benzodiazepines. But it is a very long process.
Now, do you still have time to get off of that? Are you just doing the Valium and supplements, or are you still being weaned off of something else?
I am physically dependent on liquid Valium, which is a benzodiazepine, as well as liquid baclofen, which is a muscle relaxant that that was used to take me off of benzodiazepine.
Okay. And will there come a time, do you think, that will be tapered off as well?
Yes. So I trusted the wrong people, and my dosages were cut too quickly. So I went down to exhaustion. I was barely leaving the house for a while. So I've now slowed down my taper. So, you listen to your body when you're in withdrawal. And I will not cut benzodiazepines again probably until I'm going to Ecuador this summer. And that's high altitude, so I want to be in good shape for that.
Yes.
But, I post public on 6 platforms, and there's nobody in my community who will even admit that they are in psychiatric medication withdrawal. And, these are things I've asked around. These are things that people should talk about openly and publicly.
Yes, I think that's important, because then it becomes accepted, and then there are ways to help everyone. And it's an education, I'm sure. And then each person's body is different. So you can't, the way I look at it with medicine today, you can't put everyone in a box and give them X, Y, and Z, because each person's body functions differently. But our system is more of putting everyone in a box, whether it's high blood pressure, heart medicine, whatever. You had a heart problem, okay, so you need Coumadin or one of those.
Instead of medicating, there might be other options besides medication that you should. I firmly believe that people should look at other options before they choose medications.
Exactly. Well, we need to take our next break, Ellen, and everyone listening. Again, this is a live show. We'd love to have you call. Ellen can answer any questions. The number 833-220-1200. We'll be back in a moment or two.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back. And Ellen is on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. And her site is Ellen Lubensky. It's Ellen, E-L-L-E-N. Lubensky is L as in love, U, B as in boy, E-N-S-K-Y.com. So
yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I do live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and TikTok.
Okay, so they can follow your videos.
Listeners join me. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, great. So moving forward, and this is the last segment that we have you thought about any actually doing speaking in a healthcare environment with healthcare professionals, advocacy groups?
Definitely. I mean, I've always said I want to be a merciless advocate for what I believe in, which is spreading awareness about the detrimental effects of psychiatric medications that took my physical vitality. They diminished my mental acuity. Literally tested, my IQ went down from a 153 to a 127 on antipsychotics. And they changed my personality. These were things that didn't have to happen. So, I've always said that I wanted to be an advocate for mental health issues.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and I'm thinking while we're talking, we actually have their masters. Well, one has a doctorate in nursing, and the other one is an MSN, and they do. They are focused on mental health and all on with women. And what they do is they balance holistic remedies and holistic thinking and working with clients, as well as if there is a need of medication. But what we were talking about earlier about getting to the root cause, that's what they're all about. So
yes, addressing root causes is very important to figure out who you are and where you are.
Right, and the truth of who you are. And then I think it's important, too, for women and anyone listening, is that all of our experiences that we've had from childhood up, whether they're heavy, dark, or light, they don't need to, it doesn't mean that they, it's not really who you are in the sense of as you evolve and get older and become wiser, your identity can change. It doesn't have to be locked into your experiences. And I think that's one of the main things that everyone needs to look at, because you can stay in that victim mindset. I was one of them. And now you can talk about it, but not from a victim perspective. How do you feel
right. I mean,
about...
I don't view that I am anybody's victim. I don't want to have people feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is a person and should be viewed as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the mainstream mental health system depersonalizes people and labels them. I don't want to have a label stuck to me. If I was going to have a label, it'd be that I was on the autistic spectrum.
Yes. Yeah, and unfortunately that's what happens. But do you think because you've been on this journey for a while, do you see the improvements, say, in the last 5 years with mental health, even discussions about it or how people are viewing mental health?
Yes, I mean, I think that there are significant improvements. I think that therapy is much more widely available, definitely much more widely available than when I was a child. People are more openly discussing mental health issues. It is no longer something that people feel ashamed of quite as much.
Yes, agreed, yeah. So we've talked about a lot of different things. What do you want the listeners to know or for them to ponder or think about? What's important for you to tell the listeners right now?
First and foremost, you can ask questions. You have the ability, if you don't feel that you're in a place that you can ask questions yourself, bring in a family member, bring in a friend to your appointment with you.
Yeah. It's a good
you can
point.
advocate for yourself because you might not always be in your wise mind if you are having a mental health issue. You might not be in a place where you can wisely think about your mental health care. So these are things that, you need to be able to question what is going on.
Right. And tuning into your
and
body.
I didn't feel as an attorney that I could ask those questions, and I now ask those questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the things that you like to, as far as nutrition, what are some of the things that are important to you? And I bring up that because then I'm thinking of sugar.
No, nutrition
sugar
is very important. So, for a while I was depriving myself. I am very compliant with what I'm told to do. So for a while I was depriving myself of, ice cream, of little treats.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anybody should be on a strict diet where they say, I can't have any treats ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're setting yourself up for failure. I firmly believe, things like aspartame are not good. I try to eat nutritious foods and balanced diet. I try to include protein in my diet.
That's important.
Protein is very important. Lower sugars vegetables and fruit. Not so many fruits for me, but some fruits because I don't do too high sugars. But definitely nothing artificial.
Right.
Artificial sweeteners are not good for you. All the aspartame, all the light. For a long time, I was eating a ton of light foods because, I wanted to be thin. And I thought that was, the beauty ideal that one was seeking. So I was eating very light, light everything. And that was not something that was beneficial to me. And I don't think aspartame is very good for anybody. These artificial sweeteners, what we put in our body is very important.
Right.
So you should read the labels and see if there are things that are artificial in what you're eating. But the occasional treat, that's okay. You should be able to treat yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because, I was told I should be in ketosis, and I was very strict about it. And, I didn't give myself treats. I like having a frozen yogurt every once in a while. And, that's okay. If you're eating healthy most of the time,
exactly.
Perfection is not obtainable.
Yeah, I agree. If you become too strict, then you feel you're depriving yourself, and then you cannot stay on the path of good nutrition. You fall back on that. So, and then it's always, here we are again, I'm saying it again, but the root cause of why you're eating a certain thing or addicted to, sugar or different things like that. So, I mean, it's a whole path with so many different moving parts when you start changing your diet. And I think it's best if you do it very gradually. You can't go from one extreme of eating junk to trying to go organic.
Exactly. You shouldn't in a day switch your diet from, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
If you one day decide you are going to go all nutritious foods, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yes. So now what does it look like, Ellen, for you in the future? What do you see for yourself?
I see, eating healthy foods. I try to eat organic, but not 100%. There's no 100% rule. I don't eat things that are artificial. But I'm very careful. I read the labels on what I put into my body. And I think that is very important. But also, treating yourself right occasionally. So, I'm going to have my hummus and bagel after we're done with this before bedtime. Little things that are relaxing before you go to bed. I have protein before I go to bed to help me sleep.
Yeah.
Because insomnia is the worst part of withdrawal for me.
Yeah. What else are you doing to help the sleeping piece part of your journey?
Sleep. I do. I have to do sleep hygiene. I try to stay off screens from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I try to when I wake up, I meditate and I do breath work.
Good.
But I'm now having a snack when I wake up, having protein when I wake up. But trying, not to go on screens. Because, being on screens a lot is not a good thing. Decreasing screens. In our society, screens are too often used. And they are something that's soothing for people, and it's easy to go on screens and distract yourself from your problems. So, if your thoughts are going way down, screens can be life-saving. If you're having suicidal thoughts and you go on screens for a few minutes, that's okay. But the use of screens is too wide in this society now that we're in this technological era.
Mhm. Yeah. So we only have another minute left or so. Do you see yourself speaking more often in the future?
Yes. No, I mean, I speak all the time. I want to speak. I speak publicly. I post public on 6 platforms and I do lives. I want to spread the word on things that I believe in. Yes. I want to be a merciful advocate for things that I believe in.
Which is beautiful. So I thank you for that. Yes, and that will, I don't know if you realize it or not, but that will become your purpose and mission to, to help others through your own journey, which sounds,
because I'm lucky enough to have the resources.
Yeah, I mean,
for the best care possible.
Yes. So that even if you can prevent someone else going through this kind of situation that you have lived through. What
because
a gift
unlike cancer, this is almost 100% preventable.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much, Ellie, for reaching out.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so glad that this will go out. We'll be doing a video on it. And it will continue to give, and people will listen. And like I said, it'll help.
Can you give me links to it?
Oh, yes, I will. Definitely, I will do that for you. Yes. So until we meet again, everyone out there listening, listen to this episode again, pass it on to members of your family and friends, and let it keep growing, because there's solid, good information that can help someone in your family or a friend. And follow Ellen on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and her name again is Ellen.
Instagram or LinkedIn, yep.
LinkedIn, I'm sorry, and she does the videos on LinkedIn, and
I do lives on LinkedIn, Facebook, and TikTok.
Okay, great. And it's Ellen Lubensky, Lubensky, ellenlubensky.com. All right, Ellen, well, I thank you so much, and everyone, until we connect, and unity, love, and all the good things that we all are, we're loved inside, and we're going to raise that love every day and celebrate all our differences.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week, all designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one, and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.